Hey, this is Andrew Ashby, and this is the We Geek Together podcast. I got my buddy on Spencer again,
Hello, everyone. I'm back.
and we're going to be talking about trading card games, specifically how they apply to game stores, but also there's some really big news that just dropped from Wizards of the Coast, the people who make Magic the Gathering. Spencer, what's going on? The everything's on fire, it seems.
Yeah, so earlier this week, or last week, I guess, depending on when this episode officially comes out, Wizards of the Coast made an announcement about some of the products that they're releasing. Or I guess in the recent past, every new set release has come with 3 unique booster packs that you can open up. The draft boosters that are designed to be drafted, which is, for those who know, is a Magic.
It's a way to
format.
play.
Yeah, it's really fun. Come by the store and we'll play sometime. There's set boosters, which are comparable in a lot of ways to draft boosters, except they're sort of more curated. A lot of the themes are like the same throughout the pack in the car in set boosters. And then there's collector's boosters that are basically just full of a bunch of extra rares, tons of foils, and it's just supposedly supposed to be more fun.
Collectors.
Yeah, for collectibles, for collectors and people trying to.
Yeah, so you've got confusion because there's 3 separate products. So like if I want to go to a game store and I want to buy trading cards, like which one do I buy?
Right. And I remember when they first came out, I think Wilds of Eldraine was the first set that had collector's boosters, and then I think Zendikar Rising was the first set that had set boosters, if I remember right. It's been now a few years for that. The idea, in theory, is cool because when you open up booster packs from other trading card games,
Yeah, like a Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh pack.
you get something cool, and it's like really fun. And it's like dramatic and exciting and
Cool, I get the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
sure, like whatever it is, right? Opening Magic boosters is not really like that from a guy who's opened a lot of Magic boosters, or at least historically wasn't, because you get 1 rare in the back, and sometimes it's a dud, and that feels really bad. And so ideally, the set boosters and collector's boosters are trying to mitigate that sort of feel bad to make it more exciting to open boosters while still having a product that you can draft and play with like that. So it sounds like in the recent past, Wizards has wanted to maybe consolidate those opening experiences and make it so draft boosters are as fun to open as set boosters, or perhaps that set boosters can be draftable.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing is like, as a game store, I have to buy a collector booster, I have to buy a set booster, and I have to buy a draft booster, which I have to buy 3 different products for the same products line. And so it's kind of weird to have those 3 things on my shelf. And then I know there's only certain cards you can only get in certain things. Like, for example, the Lord of the Rings one, in only the collector packs, you are going to get the 1 ring, but also
the
there's only
serialized
other
one.
specific cards you can only get in collector packs. And there's only specific cards you'll only get in set booster packs. So it's like,
Just keeping track of it is a nightmare.
yeah.
I for a long time, I knew every set release, knew all the cards, knew all the everything, and it was fairly easy to stay on top of if you had, a few extra minutes a day during spoiler season or leading up to a new set release. You could figure out what was going on. It was fairly easy. Once this sort of booster fun idea came around, I know I personally had a harder time keeping track of what cards were where.
When they
I
had
know
draft and set and collector.
Yeah, a lot of content creators that I would listen to, they complained about how like it's their job to be able to keep track of this kind of stuff, and they couldn't do it. Store owners who have no idea what you can find in what set. Like inventory became a total nightmare because you're like, well, I have this copy of the Chase Mythic from the set, but I don't know if it's the extended art or the alternate art or the borderless art or the whatever art it was. And so then people would get like as you're selling the cards, people would get bad shipments, and it just caused a lot of confusion.
Yeah. So they made a complicated product line. The idea was we can focus on different aspects of the hobby. We can have stuff for collectors, we can have stuff for the players, and we can have stuff for the people who just want to open packs. And so they tried to make their product line like that. And that's very different from all the other things, because like if I play Yu-Gi-Oh, there's only one booster pack for the set, and cool, maybe I pull the really cool card in my booster pack, but like there isn't collector booster cards and there isn't set booster cards. There's only a Yu-Gi-Oh pack.
Right. If there's going to be a collector's quote unquote product, it's going to be like Pokemon 151 that has like a specific product targeted at people who want to collect.
Yeah,
these cool
you'll get the
versions of cards.
Mewtwo pack.
Yeah, or
you'll
whatever.
You'll get the Exodia pack, but that's like a collectible tin. That's
Yeah.
like its own product at that point.
So, anyways, the solution that Wizards of the Coast has come to for this complicated series of products is that they're getting rid of the draft booster, they're getting rid of the set booster, and they're just going to have one booster pack called the play booster.
Play boosters, and they'll still have collectors.
Exactly, yeah. So there's only going to be 2 instead of 3, which great. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a better thing or a worse thing. I guess we'll
find out.
Yeah.
As a game store, I love that.
Really?
I did not like having to order set and draft boosters because I would sometimes run out of one product, but I would still have another box of the other products. Like if you look at my shelves right now, I am completely out of set boosters for everything. But I have like about 3 full boxes of draft boosters.
Wow.
So Wilds of Eldraine, I have a draft booster. I've already given out all my set boosters. The Lord of the Rings, I have all draft boosters, but I've given out all the set boosters. So it's like and they even addressed this in the letter. They were like, inventory for stores, if they have to hold on to inventory because it doesn't sell, that's not good for stores. And I agree with that. I have draft packs that aren't being bought. And so it would be really nice if for the next set, I only have to order 2 cases of booster packs, play packs, and then boom, that's all I have to worry about instead of trying to balance set and draft. So I think this is a good move by Wizards of the Coast as a local game store. I would say so.
I think that there's a lot of layers of kind of breaking down this product to make it to understand like if it's overall a positive or a negative.
No, yeah, it's so complicated.
I also think it might not necessarily be our job here in this podcast to decide, okay, these are a problem or these are going to save the game, right? But there are a couple of things that I think are worth pointing out just to kind of like get an idea of what this announcement kind of means.
Or how this impacts the community.
Exactly. First of all, these boosters aren't going to be rolled out until the beginning of next year with a set called Murders at Karlov Manor or some such thing.
Yeah.
Some Return to Ravnica.
We got some time.
Yeah. Next thing, there's only 14 cards in these packs compared to the previous sets, previous kinds of boosters that I think Draft had 15 and Set had 12.
I think it was
cards. 10. Was it only 10? Something in that range.
10 or 12.
And so these are going to be 14 cards per pack, for better or for worse. They're going to sell at set booster prices, but appear in boxes in quantities of draft boosters, if that makes sense. So they're going to be like $7 a pack, or I don't know, whatever Wizards doesn't acknowledge MSRP, so we're just kind of like making stuff up. But whatever you can sell set boosters for, $6, $7, whatever it is. And there's going to be 36 packs per box so that they can be drafted.
Yeah, and so the box themselves is going to cost a little bit more because there's more packs, so the rise of the box will be more. But like theoretically, it should be about the same price per pack. I don't think they were going to actually raise the price per pack. They were just going to be saying the boxes are bigger, therefore the price is going to go up because like it's bigger than a set booster. So it's going to cost more than a set booster.
Do you I don't know if you want to talk about it or if you even know, but do you know what the numbers are for your store? Or is that kind of too soon yet?
I have no clue what they're going to cost.
You haven't heard yet from...
I know like the average cost of a draft pack, a draft box for my store was around $100, give or take. So, if it's around like 120, maybe 130 for the extra packs, like that's not too much of a difference. I don't see that being too much of a problem.
It's true. I think that it feels like a lot for the average consumer. Because realistically, you spend $100 on a booster pack. Maybe you have that kind of expendable income. You just show up, you drop a couple $100 on a few boxes. It's totally fine. But for just somebody, whatever, like a student,
Casually
maybe, yeah, or
playing.
just like somebody who like doesn't necessarily have all that expendable income. 130 is
That's a lot of money.
it's a lot different from just 100,
True.
right?
True. Actually, no, that is a difference,
You know what
because
I'm saying?
that's what I'm buying wholesale. So I'm actually probably selling it, for like 150, 180. And so now the price might go up to 200 instead of 180.
Well, and especially if we're talking about like what set was it? Commander Masters?
Oh,
Where the set boosters were like something insane, like
we're talking like 300 to 400 per box.
yeah, and now like these
Normal price.
and that was you had the option, right, if you were going to buy draft or set, but now there's just like not really the option.
Yeah.
Like the baseline product is going to be in that higher range for some of these premium products.
Yeah, true. So it definitely will remain to be seen how exactly financially it's going to impact. I don't think it's going to do a crazy amount. I think just simplifying the product, I think it's nice for me as a game store. I appreciate that. And we'll see if it's nice for consumers. I don't think it won't be. I think it'll just be, I think it's a win in my opinion. But,
Really?
yeah.
Another thing to consider about this is how it might impact gameplay, because the contents of the packs are different
True.
than a traditional draft pack. So if you go to draft these play boosters, before you would have gotten 11 commons, 3 uncommons, and 1 rare.
1 rare
with,
or mythic.
with a chance for a double rare in like the foil slot or something like that.
Yeah.
But now in these play boosters, the first 6 cards are going to be commons.
Yep.
There's going to be a card from the list or an additional common, a 7th common.
Yep.
So you'll have like a chance of
Probably,
getting a list card. And then 3 uncommons, and then 1 rare or mythic rare,
Mm-hmm.
1 basic land, 1 non-foil wild card, and 1 foil wild card. Now, I don't really know what those wild cards are.
The wild cards have a chance of being anything.
Oh, like the gimmick for the set or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could pull another mythic, or you could pull another common.
Okay, cool.
So
really, though, what I'm seeing here is there's a chance for 4 rares per pack.
You could have a killer pack.
Like with the list, with the wild cards, you could get as many as 4 rares.
Yeah.
Which is exciting, but in a draft,
most of the time. Oh, in a draft, if you pull some banger cards in a pack and you're like, oh shoot.
Yeah, it has the potential to impact the draft environment. Maybe less draft. I guess it would impact draft. If you have like a pool with lots and lots of rares, then the draft environment is going to be a lot more swingy depending on who can draw those big bomby rares.
True.
But in like sealed events, like pre-releases, if you pull, if all your packs have a single rare and all your buddies' packs have
Double
2 or 3 or
rares.
4 rares, like
yeah,
that's going to impact that a lot. And
interesting.
so I'm not trying to like doom and gloom this whole thing, but it does seem like really a lot of formats in Magic in the last few years have sort of migrated towards this like big bomby, like value generating, type metagame. And it seemed for a long time that maybe limited formats like draft and sealed would be immune to that, but maybe they're not actually.
Maybe not.
Might
Might be swinging. It will remain to be seen.
Yeah,
I guess it'll be interesting for sure. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in what you can pull. And again, that potential that you could pull 4 rares, like that's pretty cool.
One thing that I'll say, last thing about this maybe before we move on, is one fear that I have reading this is that with more rares, they said that they intend to include more interaction to maybe balance out the fact that the overall power level of these limited formats are going to be a little higher. But the thing that I'm afraid of is that in the long term, it makes rares less cool. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
now, if you can get 4 rares in a pack, then
Are they actually going to be cool rares?
yeah, Wizards could just make the rares similar to what uncommons are
used to
now,
be.
and then the wild card slots that are the crazy gimmicks for the set. Now those are the new rares for a booster.
The new mythics.
Yeah, exactly. And so it overall depowers or excites. That's not really a word, but
it could oversaturate.
yeah.
Or it can go the other way and it could destroy the power curve.
Sure.
If you're putting out crazy rares and everybody's pulling insane rares all the time, like suddenly
the game just cannibalizes itself.
Yeah, a 1 mana for a 2/2 drop with haste is like normal or something like that. It's like
which really we're not far from that kind of thing.
Yeah, no,
but yeah, so I could see it maybe going either way. Or maybe it's just perfectly balanced. Wizards, we need to give them more credit because they've been doing this for 30 years, and
maybe we'll see. So yeah, interesting stuff to show that the trading card games are always changing, and this is something as a game store that you will have to always be mindful of, because I've been playing Magic for a bit. You've been playing Magic for forever.
It feels like it sometimes.
And but like I've also been playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I've dabbled with Pokemon. Lorcana came out. You now have the One Piece trading card games. There's
Flesh and Blood is a
Flesh
big one.
and Blood, and these card games change. They adapt. They grow. And what they were even 5 years ago isn't what they are now. And so it's really interesting from the point of view as a local game store is like, how do you adapt to what's going on? And maybe that's another topic, but like,
how do you adapt to the change in the
changing
game's I don't know, what do you say? What do you call that?
Community.
Yeah.
Because like if the way Yu-Gi-Oh is played now versus how it was played 10 years ago is so different. So how you organize your event is drastically different from how it was 10 years ago. Same thing. Well, I don't know much about Magic because I wasn't playing Magic 10 years ago, but like I wonder what the difference is if I was to host an event 10 years ago versus how I would try to go about it today.
Sure. And in fact, it might be worth just strategizing on that, because in the Magic community, there's kind of a push and pull about people who want their events to be like they were 10 years ago, but like the game is different enough that
and you're always trying to find new blood.
Yeah.
Too. That's the thing. You want to be on the cutting edge. So like, what can you do? I wanted to talk about how to become a TCG store, kind of what that looks like. What are all the benefits, and what, not to talk bad about any of the companies because I am in bed with all these companies, but what are the things that you need to be mindful of? So if you want to become a TCG store, there's a few things. Usually you fill out an application. You send in photos of your store. You tell them how many tables, like they want to know your table count. They want photos of what your bathroom looks like.
Interesting.
That you have to do a video walkthrough of your whole store. And
what games is this for?
This was for Lorcana. This was for Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay.
They had similar applications where they wanted to see your store. They wanted to see table count. They wanted to see, did your store look clean? Did it have bathrooms accessible? Was it a nice looking store? So that's already right off the bat. Like they have, and same thing with Flesh and Blood too. Same application. So there is kind of an expected thing for TCGs, and they want to have products only in good looking, well kept stores. So if you want to be a TCG store, realize like there's a barrier to entry.
Interesting.
Yeah. So once you fill out the application, you either get approved or denied. Once you get approved, then each TCG has its kind of own benefits as well as its own support. So I'll break it down a little bit. Magic the Gathering it's called WPM, Wizards Play Network. And the benefits are they have an online calendar that anyone who plays Magic can go online and they can find your store. All right. So if I want to play Magic on Friday night, but I don't know where to go, I can just go onto Wizards of the Coast website and I can find my game store and other game stores that are doing events. So you've got kind of a spotlight on your store from Wizards of the Coast. They also will send you promo cards. These are free cards that are supposed to incentivize players to come into your store. Hey, you host an event, and if you host that event, you can give them all lotus petals, which is like a $20 card. And they give that to the store for free. Now, there is in your agreement that you're not just going to flip and sell those promo cards. That's how you immediately lose your benefits if you're just selling promo cards. So you have to actually use those to draw people in. You can't just use it for cash. They will also send you free cards, free booster packs, depending on how many people you estimate will be in your store. So they send you free price support. They'll send you some posters, some cool ads, and that kind of stuff to help advertise. Because if you think about it businessly, they want local game stores to be championing their games. So they will give you stuff to make championing easier. Okay. I had this card that they gave me like $100 card. And then, because you came to this event, and it pulled in people who had never played in my store before. But because I had this card up for grabs at the event, it pulled in new blood to my store. So new players who had never played. So they gotta see my store and they gotta see how we worked and that kind of stuff. So that's what Wizards of the Coast does. And Yu-Gi-Oh, very similar. They'll send you free prize support. They'll send you posters. And again, they send you support for special events. Again, they want people to come into your store and play, so they try to make that easier for the stores. Same thing with Flesh and Blood. I get new posters every week or every month, and I get free play mats to give out to players in the community. So it's really cool what every game store is doing. They're a little bit different for each company, but they pretty much have their own way to give free stuff to the store and also try to spotlight the store so you can then draw people into your store. And I think that's really cool. The requirements is not only do you have a nice looking store for the beginning of the application, but then every time you do an event, you have to register every player that shows up. Okay? Because they're sending you stuff. They're literally spending money on your store. So they want to see that return is actually working. So anytime I host an event like Flesh and Blood, I have to have everybody log in onto the Flesh and Blood website and say, hey, I was here at the game store. And then the Flesh and Blood owners can see, oh, hey, Andrew's pulling in 10 people every Friday. So we're going to keep on giving them free stuff. And if I started pulling in 20 to 30 people every Friday, they'd be like, hey, we're going to give you more free stuff. So you can definitely, depending on how big you grow your community, you can get more and more free stuff. And so that incentivizes you as a game store to think outside the box. How do I get more people out? How do I have cooler ads? How do I draw more attention? Is there anything else I can do to draw more people in? Because then I will get more free support for my store.
Would you say, how helpful would you say that support is in you trying to do just that, grow your community and things like that?
It's a start.
Okay.
It's definitely a start. Having free stuff that I do not have to spend money on is awesome. The fact that I can have free prize support, I don't have to spend money on the free prize support means I can keep my entry level low. I don't have to charge $20 per tournament. I can charge $5 a tournament because the prizes I got for free, I can give out, and that's still a cool tournament. People want to show up.
You don't have to factor that into your expenses for the event.
Yeah, so that's really cool. In fact, we're going to host a big charity game in December. And for the charity game, people, instead of paying money, they have to donate food. And we're going to take it all and we're going to donate it to food banks for the holidays.
That's cool.
But we're going to use some of the free prize support that we've gotten from these different TCGs as incentive. Like, hey, come in and you're going to get a free $15 card for bringing in food, guaranteed. So, like, hopefully it's going to be a really fun, big event and, it'll go to a good cause. And that's not going to cost me any money.
Sure.
So that's really cool. It's a start, but it's definitely not everything. that's the other thing, is you as a game store still have to be advertising your stuff. You have to be fostering that community.
Kind of the stuff that we talked about last week about how to develop that community, sort of regardless. The things that we talked about could apply to any kind of game, but in TCGs, there's also this additional help of the companies that make it.
Yeah, exactly. And so you leverage the free support, you do your own advertising, your own community building, and that is how you can turn your TCG store to be profitable. And I guess that's the hard part, is because TCGs are tough to be profitable. And I'm not saying this as like a dig on any of the companies. This is just the nature of the game. You have a product, and it takes money and it takes people to make this product. Like the artists and the manufacturing, like people make fun of it because it's like, oh, it's just pieces of cardboard. But like actually, as somebody who made a 52 card playing deck, like it took me like a year myself to do that. And it's insanely hard. And these companies are pumping out hundreds of cards every other month. So it's actually a ton of work to make and a ton of testing and a ton of figuring things out and a ton of advertising. Like these companies, yes, they're making a lot of money. I'm not going to say they're not making a lot of money, but they are definitely working hard. Like they're not just sitting around blowing bubbles.
And you can see with a lot of the decisions that they're making, like especially we were talking about the new boosters for Magic earlier. You can almost see how that is an opportunity for Wizards to make a little bit more money off of their booster products, right?
True.
We said that there's one less card, which that means whatever it means, right? There are fewer products that end up getting wasted, getting stuck on store shelves, right?
Yeah.
And so you can see that for them, they are obviously motivated by making more money.
Obviously, yeah. We're a capitalist.
Yeah, and in addition to that, in a way, you are also motivated by making more money.
Absolutely,
right?
This is a business, yeah.
Right? And so it's really nothing personal. We're just all trying to kind of figure out how do we do that better, and hopefully we can all make more money at the same time rather than at another person's expense.
Yeah. And but it is hard. TCGs are hard to be profitable in because there are some things that you have to be mindful of. And this is the stuff that I was talking about. And again, this isn't a bad thing. This is just how the manufacturing line works. If I know there's going to be a hot product, like the Doctor Who product that just came out for Magic the Gathering, that's a pretty darn hot product, okay? I bet you if I ordered 20 of those units, I could sell them all within a week, maybe 2, okay? But like that's guaranteed money, okay? The problem is I am a new game store. So my distributor, the person who gives me the products, doesn't trust me with 20 units, okay? Because if they order 20 units from me, that means I'm expected to buy that 20 units from them. And if I say, hey, I want 20 units, and then it turns out, hey, the product's kind of a flop, and then I only buy 5 of those units, I just screwed over my distributor. So distributors, the people who give me my wholesalers, and so this is a thing as TCG, you don't buy the cards directly from Wizards of the Coast or Konami or Ravensburg. You buy the trading cards through another company, a distributor. They're somebody who gets and ships the product to you. And they're the middleman, and they're at the mercy of both companies. They're at the mercy of Wizards of the Coast. Whatever Wizards of the Coast gives to that distributor is whatever they can get. And then they're at the mercy of the game stores. The game stores better order everything that they ordered for the distributor. If the distributor has pallets of stuff that didn't move around, that just kills the distributor. So as a small game store, I'm brand new. I can't order that much. So the Lord of the Rings products, that was like one of the most fire sets of the year. Okay. I wanted to order a crap ton of that. Okay. But my distributor blocked me. And it wasn't like he was trying to screw me over. He's like, look, I don't know you. I haven't done business with you. I can't put you in for 10 units. Even though like I know this is a good product and it sells, like I don't have 10 units to spare. I'm only getting 1,000 units. And so I have to give that to everyone. And you're kind of at the bottom of the pecking order. So you're only going to get your 2 units. And I have to give this out to everybody else because I'm only given 1,000. So you as a game store, you're constantly almost competing with other game stores, and you're keeping your honor, your credibility with the distributor. And so there's been a lot of times where game stores will have to buy a ton of product just to keep their credibility. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I've never considered that as a dynamic, like what the relationship is with the distributor or whatever. I didn't realize that that's an important part, it sounds like, of what that's doing TCGs.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. If you want to be a TCG, you have to have a good relationship with your distributor. And that kind of puts you, it kind of forces you sometimes to make bad decisions. So let's say there's a set that comes out, okay? And I, as a really big game store, I'm super popular. I'm killing it. Every time I order 10 sets, okay? I order 10 booster boxes, okay? My distributor is like, hey, we got your 10. That fantastic. You always order 10. We got your 10. No problem. We trust you, Andrew. And then I start looking at the spoilers of the set. Okay. Because you actually put in your orders before the spoilers come out. That's the really tricky thing. I have to pre-order before the set is teased. So all I really have is just the name of the set. So I put in my normal 10 order, and then spoilers start coming out from the set. And the community starts talking, and they're like, oh, this new set just looks mid. You know, there isn't really anything exciting about this set. There isn't anything cool. And so I can sense the community's not going to buy too much of this product. However, I have pre-ordered 10. So I have 2 choices. I can only actually order 5, okay, because I think I can move 5. But that's going to burn the distributor. They now have 5 units that they saved for me. And then I said, sorry, sucks to be you. You have to find out what to do with it. Or I then take the full 10 units and then I pray to whatever card god you believe in. I pray to them that I can move those units. And so, and that's what's happened to a lot of game stores. There's been game stores that have died because they keep on ordering their 10 units consistently, and then suddenly there's a bad set that happens, and you know that's human. The people on the companies are human. They can't have a bomb set every time.
Well, and it probably wouldn't be good for the health of the game to have every set top the one before.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a bad set, but I'm sitting on 12 cases of these, and I can't move a single case, suddenly that's thousands of dollars you have tied up in inventory that now somebody got screwed with. Either you as a local game store got screwed with, or the distributor got screwed with. But that's what kills local game stores, and that's also what kills your credibility from a distributor. Even if, I selfishly only order 3, now my distributor is going to lower my pre-orders, and they're going to be like, hey, I can't trust you, so I'm not going to give you 10 cases of the next bomb set. You're only going to get 3 because I know you're going to only be able to buy 3.
Interesting. It puts the game store owner kind of between a rock and a hard place where they're going to lose money on the one side or they're going to lose money on the other side, just depending on the decision that they make.
So it could prevent me from bomb sets, a set that's guaranteed to sell out. And so that's why it's really tough to be a TCG, a store that makes a lot of money on TCGs, because there's so many factors involved in the product. It's not a product you make, so you don't control the prices. It's not a product you distribute, so you can't control the distributor. So really all you have is like sometimes a wish and a prayer, and you're just your standards, kind of what you can do. And hopefully you have a big enough community, so even if a bad set drops, you have enough people who can soak up some of that product that probably doesn't move.
Wow. So do you have any thoughts or advice or things for, now that you're kind of knee deep in
I've
some of
done it
this stuff.
for a
Yeah,
year.
like if somebody wants to start this up, what do you say to them?
Good luck. Like,
Yeah.
I am definitely not there. I know there's definitely solutions. Like, you can crack packs yourself. You can start opening packs that haven't moved, and you can get into selling singles. And
Which is not something you guys have done yet.
we haven't. Well, we've barely sold singles,
Okay, so
But-
a little bit,
but we don't buy a pack just
Yeah.
to crack it.
well, and that's in addition to being even more perhaps at the mercy of the quality of the set for whatever the release is. You also that's a large chunk of man hours that now you have to devote to
Yeah, that's
opening packs and sorting and inventorying and all the things. That's like a whole
shipping.
Yeah,
and-
it's a huge commitment that not everybody might be willing to jump into.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one way to mitigate is cracking singles, but then again, like that's also a lot of work. And then like I haven't figured it out. Like TCGs right now for my store break even. Like I make money off of my other product lines, and the benefit of carrying TCGs is it has built-in community. So I'm bringing in people into my store, and they might buy other products, which is great. That's where I make my money, is when people buy some chips and soda, and they see some cool dice and they pick up a cool set of dice or some card sleeves. That's where I make my actual money, my profitability. As far as TCGs, since it's so all over the place, and some sets are great and sell out, and some sets aren't, and they sit on the shelf forever. I definitely haven't mastered it, and I can't give too much advice because I'm not losing money, which is great, but I'm definitely not making money off of it either. It's definitely just keeping itself, which maybe that's how you approach it at your game store. You find your killer product line, you find what actually makes you money, you focus on that, and then you bring in TCGs as a supplement. Hey, it's not going to hurt me. It will help me because it'll bring in people. It's not going to hurt me. It's going to take me some work, but I'm not going to be I'm not going to be the TCG store. I'm not going to be buying 20 packs and have a huge single collection and that kind of stuff. I'll be more of just a place for people to play and have a good community, but I'm not going to be the TCG store. Maybe that's somebody else's thing, and maybe that's something I can improve on, but I don't know.
All right, well, that's a little look underneath the hood, I guess, of running TCGs in your local store, as well as we covered the news for Magic from this last
Crazy.
week. So,
Crazy stuff.
anything else you want to throw in here before we wrap things up?
Thank you for listening to episode 3. We're working on video of it soon. And boy, do we have a lot more to talk about as far as game store stuff. I've been talking to some game store owners to maybe get them on the podcast. So
That would be cool.
We can start really figuring out what it's like to work, to own, to run a game store.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, in the meantime, let us know where we can find you on social media.
We got the Instagram, the YouTube, the TikTok. If you search We Geek Together, you can find all of our stuff. We post on it very regularly. That's probably how you found this podcast, to be honest. So thank you for following us and supporting us, and we'll keep on doing what we do.
Yeah. If you did find us from one of those other outlets, feel free to come leave a comment or a rating or whatever it is on the podcast
How that helps.
player that you're listening to.
That helps. One day the podcast will be able to bring its own people.
Yeah.
Which that would be awesome. But thank you for the hardcore fans who do care and are listening. It means a lot.
All right. Well, I guess we'll be back next week with another topic on running game stores.
Heck yeah.